3 ways to take your child tax credit payments, those monthly child tax credit payments, and potentially turn it into a fortune. What up? You got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video, I want to talk about 3 different ways that you can take your child tax credit payments on a monthly basis and turn it into a fortune. You see, it's one thing for you to receive it, but it's a whole nother thing for you to take that and grow it and turn it into something that you no longer need. You just so happen to still receive it, and it's still resulting in results. So I love the fact that now we have so many different options that instead of you just taking it, you can have a different mentality, and these 3 ways can help you grow that and turn that into something that outlives you, that you can then pass down to your children. So it's a beautiful thing with the right mindset. So number 1, let's talk about the mindset. And this isn't a part of the numbers, but this mindset allows you to make the numbers that I'm about to give you a reality. So the mindset that we got to develop in this area is treat it as if you never received it. Treat it as if you don't have it. Treat it as if it's still not a part of your monthly income or cash flow. Treat it as if it's just money that you automatically have given some assignment. Why is that important? Because if you now adopt this newfound money into just acquiring something new, and you add on an extra $500 expense, $250 expense, $300 expense, then you'll just literally put yourself in the same position. But if you treat it as if you've never had that money to come in, and as soon as it come in, you give it some direction, then these 3 tips will help you tremendously. So number 1, with that extra money, and I'm gonna use $500 as the example. Why? Because I see that many people may get $250 per child, assuming that many people have 2 children, on average, then that's about $500. And some may be more that you'll receive, but just using that as an example, $500 is what I want to say. So assume that you get your $500 child tax credit payment. What do you do with it? That's a trick question. Treat it as if you never had it. So you take that money, and number 1 way that you can do is pay down debt. Pay down debt. Why is that important? Because if you pay off debt, you're saving future interest that you would have had to pay. Because the interest that you would have had to pay would be taken away from your future wealth. But if you pay it off today, then you strategically and effectively lowered your interest rate, because you no longer have to pay interest on that money, especially if we're talking about credit cards, especially if we're talking about debt elimination altogether. You're investing in your debt. That 10% that you would have been paying in interest, or that 20% that you would have been paid in interest, just got chopped down in a short amount of time, because you probably would have had a payment of $100, $200, $300, but you took $500 and you dumped it all on that. So now a part of that would have been just interest alone, but now you've strengthened the money so that it goes more so to the principal. And if you do that on a regular basis, especially with a credit card, your minimum payment will start to show 0. If you do that and you still make the payment, even though it's showing that your minimum payment is 0, now you're knocking that credit card down fast, and you turn that $500 in the child tax credit payment into an extra $700, because you would have been paying $200 on that debt, but now you have $200 plus the $500 for a total of $700 that you can employ to number 2. And number 2 is investing in stocks. Invest in the market. And stocks come in many forms. Of course, there are different vehicles. You can buy index funds. You can buy ETFs, which is what we recommend. You can buy REITs, which is another thing that we recommend. You can buy individual stocks if you choose. You can buy mutual funds, 401k, and that just basically is a vehicle that allows it to be taxed a certain way. So definitely do your due diligence to see what's right for you. And this is not legal or financial advice. These are just things to consider strongly as it relates to that extra $500. So say, for example, you got rid of your debt, you don't have debt, or you decided that you wanted to jump into investing in stocks and just keep paying the minimum on your debt. That's totally up to you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just giving you some things to consider. So you take that $500. That $500 is now going into the stock market, and you're investing in things that you believe has a future. You believe long term will grow. What are some things that has the potential to grow? the electric vehicle space. I just read an article earlier today. They were talking about United Airlines buying a certain amount of all electric planes that hold, maybe 19 people, give or take. But it lets you know that the electric vehicle space is on the rise. There are only a certain amount of electric vehicles, but there are a ton talking about it in the background. So that could be a sector that you invest in. I recommend doing or finding an ETF. ETF centered around electric vehicles. You can go to etfdb.com and just pull up some and see which one you want to invest in. Now you're taking that $500 and putting it in something that you believe has a future. You can also look into things like robotics, artificial intelligence, solar, things that are futuristic and have a potential of growing, even 5G, so think about some of those things and figure out, okay, what if I put 500 directly towards this on a monthly basis? What could that grow into? And one day I'm gonna pull out the calculator. I'm gonna do a short video on our TikTok page to kind of do an example of how that child tax credit payment can grow. But for you, I want you to just understand that if you treat it like you never had it, now that money can be growing in the stock market. That's number two. Number three, and it's very similar to number one, but it's a little more risky, but I think it has a lot of huge upside potential when you do your due diligence and have an understanding of it. Now, all of these things can be done, what I'm about to say. This third one I'm about to give you, it is not like you have to do one or the other. You can do debt elimination, invest in stocks, and number three, invest in crypto. If you invest in crypto, yeah, it's volatile. Yeah, it's risky. Yeah, you can definitely lose money because there's some entities out there that are really creating coins that they're just doing it to just create some type of money grab. But if you do your homework and your research on some of these coins, then it's a great upside potential because the rate of return can often be higher due to the volatility. So with that being said, consider investing in crypto. Now, I wouldn't say take all 500 and dump it into crypto, but if you believe in it or you do your homework enough, who knows what it can grow into? Because remember, the initial mindset is treated like you never had it. Treat it like you never had it. This is not to, say that you start making less money anywhere else, but this is just to get you in the mindset of taking something that's a new form of cash flow and dumping it into a vehicle to help save you futuristically or put you in a better futuristic state from a financial standpoint. So consider all three of those things or divvy it up how you see fit, but you definitely want to do one of the three, if not all of the three, because that's going to help you out tremendously. And this is a strategy that we've been teaching for a while. It's known as income shifting, and we typically teach it in the form of budgeting or the W-4, or creating more cash flow from a home-based business, which is something else you could strongly consider. But now, with the newfound cash flow that may come from the child tax credit payments, you're in a position to do it on another level with some cash flow that you're going to treat as if you never had it in the first place. If you need assistance with that and you want to get access to our personal financial success membership that can teach you all of the things that I talked about and some, and how to go about doing it, strongly consider clicking that link and getting access to it so you can take full advantage and grow that child tax credit payment into a potential fortune. That's all I got for this video. Mr. Smith signing out. Salute.